Hi everybody, my name is Johnny. I wanted to talk to you today about keloids. It's a big question a lot of people ask me about. I'm a professional piercer and a tattoo artist and the owner of a salon and day spa, and I do a lot of medical aesthetic services. I wanted to talk to you today about keloids, how to treat them, and like an at-home remedy to treat any keloids. First I'll explain what they are. Keloids are a growth of tissue that happens after a minor injury, like a piercing. They can also happen on cuts, or anytime you get like a bump or bruise that's really bad. The skin will raise up and build tissue around it. That's a keloid. Keloids themselves can be red or pink. They can kind of look like an infection. They can have fluid built up in them. And a lot of people mistake them for an infection. Now, obviously you can still get an infection with a piercing, but if it's like a raised large bump, then generally it's a keloid. We're going to go through an at-home remedy on how to cure that issue and get rid of it. If it comes up again, you can just repeat the process to help get rid of it. So a keloid itself is just excess tissue that builds up around a minor wound. It's again, different for everybody. Some people are a little bit more prone to keloids than others, and it really just depends on how your body reacts and heals and damage. So I'm going to go through an at-home remedy that I found that's very successful. I personally myself, I get keloids when I get a piercing, and this is what I did, and I recommend to clients to do to get rid of their keloids. Now, first off, do follow any instructions that any piercers have given you. Generally, we give out saline solution to clear the area. Also, would recommend cleaning it with soap and water and an antiseptic. Also, it's something you're going to need to do is clean and flush out the area as we're doing this process too. So don't do this in spite of those other things. So do them all together, and that'll give you your best result. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with how to treat the keloid. First, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some aspirin. I find that aspirin's one of your best bets. It's pretty cheap, it's easy, you can get it over the counter. So generally start off with 2 tablets of aspirin, and I'm going to stick them in a mortar and pestle. Mortar and pestles I find are just the easiest thing, or if you have like a blender or anything at home, you can do that too. But just drop your 2 tablets in there. And then I pre-measured this, but I like to use sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt. Just this is the kind you can get for like a neti pot. You can get pretty much anywhere. It's pretty inexpensive, but I find when it gets wet it sticks. So when you're sticking it on an area, you want it to just stay. You don't want it to fall off. So we're going to have our 2 tablets of aspirin, and then we're going to drop in our 1 teaspoon, this is a teaspoon of sea salt, and put that in there. It doesn't have to be pink Himalayan sea salt. It can be any sea salt, or Epsom salt's fine too. So you're going to have them both in there, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is recommend crushing them up. So we'll crush them up. Mortar and pestle. Again, a blender is a little bit quicker, but it's harder to clean. So you don't need a lot of it either, because it'll go pretty far. You're just putting a little dab on. Crush up the tablets. Get rid of any of the big pieces. So I have it just right here, just like a little powder. Now I'm going to put the powder in just a little container, so it's something easy that you can put a cover over while you're using it, just so stuff doesn't get in there. Correct. So we just have a little bit of powder in there. It's not a lot, just a little bit here. Now what we're going to do is add a little bit of water to this. So take our teaspoon of water. We'll add it here. A little bit of water in there, if you can see. And then I'm going to mix it together with a Q-tip. Something clean, doesn't really matter. Don't really use your fingers. And you want it so it's kind of like a buttery consistency. That way it sticks, but it's not too wet. Now you might have to apply some water to this as the days go on. If you cover it, it shouldn't come off too much, but if you need to, just make sure it's just like kind of like warm butter. It's not gonna fall off or anything too easy. So I'm going to show you quickly how to apply it onto the area. So I have these little demonstrations. So here is a fake ear, and there's the jewelry there. So a keloid is normally going to form just around the base of this, but it generally forms on the back and the front. So you're going to want to apply this on the back and the front. So what we're going to do here is we're going to apply a little bit of the paste, and we're going to put it around the area. I would recommend doing this kind of as you're going to bed, because you will have this big white blobby thing where you're putting the cream, and it may not be best to walk around that way unless you don't care. Then the other side, on the back, we're going to apply it there, and you can be pretty generous with it, just right there. Clean off any of the excess paste so it looks somewhat clean, and then that'll stay. See, it's not coming off or anything like that, and just leave that on overnight. Now, I would recommend that you wash the area with an antiseptic just to make sure if it is an infection or anything that you can kind of clear it off. And again, keep your saline and all that other stuff kind of up, but clean the area, put this on, leave it overnight, and if you want to, you can put it on in the morning. Usually get in the morning. One other thing you can do is you can add tea tree oil to this. This is a light brand tea tree oil. And I would put maybe 2 to 3 drops in your solution and then mix it up. I wouldn't recommend if you're getting your nose, if you had a nose piercing. So if you have a nose piercing, the reason for it is when you apply on your nose piercing, you're going to apply around the outside pretty generously. Get it all in there, right in there. And then you want to apply on the inside of the nose up here. So, and make sure you get it all around. And the issue is, so we get it right up in there. The issue is that tea tree oil smells. So I don't know if you don't care about that or if you like the smell of tea tree oil, that's fine. But putting up your nose might not be the best solution. So just the sea salt and aspirin should be fine. Now this is going to take a few days, but you should start to see it starting to come down, and then over a couple of days it'll dry it out. And then once it's gone, keep applying. Apply at least a couple of days after it's gone, just to make sure it's gone. It can flare up again if you're doing anything. You have your nose pierced and you're playing soccer, hits you in the face, and then it balloons up again. Just repeat the process. It's pretty quick and easy. If you are continuing to have a problem after that, it's probably a good idea to talk to a piercer about the type of jewelry. Maybe it's too tight. Maybe it needs to be looser. Most piercings, if you saw, even with the model ones that we have, they're a little bigger than the area that you put them in initially, just so they can swell if they don't have room to swell. it doesn't heal properly. So make sure that you have the right type of jewelry, also that you're not allergic to that jewelry. If you are allergic to any metals, an implant grade metal is the best, like we use implant grade titanium or surgical steel. Gold is generally always pretty good too, but watch out for the other metals. If it's black or green or a funny color around the area, generally that means the jewelry you're using is cheap. Green is copper. Black can be a couple of different types of metals, silvers and stuff like that, where it oxidizes and kills the skin around the area. So you don't really want that. You want something that's implant grade and meant to be put in the body. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment and we'll answer. Also, if you're interested in any jewelry, we do have a website up and running now. I'll put it in the description, but it is shop.elanvitale, elanvitale.ca, and you can get your jewelry there. We also have aftercare supplies and stuff. This stuff here is very generic. It's over the counter, so you can get it at any store. It's not something you need. We don't have any keloid kits or anything like that. Might be something we're looking for in the future, but as of now we don't. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description. Thanks a lot. Bye.